Peace. Welcome to another episode of Visual Caffeine. We're live and direct from Planet Visual Caffeine or Planet VizCaff. Thank you for being here, tuned in with us. Today, we have a very, very, very powerful guest in the building. This brother has been in the game 25 plus years, making it happen, civilizing the culture each and every step of the way. The Great X, the Wild Cowboy. Welcome to SADAT X, y'all.
Peace, and I'm happy to be here. Great to be here, man.
No doubt, man. So I'm gonna just rewind back, man, and tell you, first time I heard your music, Ralph McDaniels, Video Music Box. I saw the Feel So Good video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I gravitated to right from the beginning was the culture, the colors, the fashion, you know what I'm saying? Just, was that on purpose? Was that by design?
Yeah, well, at that time when we were coming out, you got to look at the certain situations that was going on in the city. That was like that 89, 90 era. We had come out of the situation in Crown Heights.
Yes.
You know, they had the Howard Beach situation. Then also, it was a period of movies. Spike had been putting out movies.
No doubt.
So
No doubt.
a lot of black consciousness had been raised. And being that we were in the 5% nation, you know, nation of gods and earth, so that was in our culture. But it was just an awakening, I felt, of black people. You know, we were wearing the beads and
No doubt.
the Malcolm X shirts and the hats.
Exactly.
So that period was a kind of an awakening period, and that's what we tried to put into the music.
That's what's up. So fast forward, I got to hear the album. My brother gave me the tape, Peace to Four Winds, and one of the first things I noticed on the tape, I'm like, wow, yo, it's three brothers, three MCs, three different styles.
Yeah.
But the chemistry was seamless.
Yeah, definitely. Well, see, what happened was Pooh Bah was a solo artist, as we know,
True.
at the beginning of our Masters of Ceremony.
No doubt.
And he was trying to produce. I was a solo artist. Jamar was a solo artist. We were in New Rochelle, New York at the time. I had moved from the Bronx to New Rochelle, which is a suburb of the Bronx.
True.
And you know, Grand Pooh Bah was producing both of us. We'd go to the studio sometimes, maybe have 8 hours. We'd do maybe 4 hours of Jamar's stuff, 4 hours of my stuff.
Word.
I forgot who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Jazzy J, the great Jazzy J, who suggested we were in his studio, Strong City Studios in the Bronx, and somehow a track was played and we all three rhymed on it. And it sounded good. And it was like, yo, you know, y'all should keep on working. Being that Pooh Bah had the ins and outs of the industry already, he took it downtown. He knew Dante Ross.
True.
And was able to speed it up. The whole process maybe took about 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
Definitely.
Amazing. So, wow. As you say that, I'm wondering, yo, what those solo songs sound like.
Yeah, it was, and it's dope because we still have some of those. We got we did the Unsung show, so some of that stuff will be inside the show. Like some of the stuff that people have never heard will be in there.
Nice. So do you have a favorite Brand Nubian track?
I would have to say my favorite track probably would be Slow Down. And the reason being is because at the time of Slow Down, I was a student at Hunter College. And Hunter College had a dorm on 23rd Street. And I just happened to be in the dorm one night. And it was one of those video shows that came on. And they were playing an Edie Brickell record. And I was like, yo, that record's pretty dope right there. And I went and got the record.
Word.
I found it on a 45. I went and got it. And at first when we looped it up, because we looped it up at the beginning of the album. Somehow it wasn't working. We couldn't get the drums right. And we left it alone. And I remember it was the last song on the album. The last session we had, I think we had about 3-4 hours left. We wanted to fill that time. Somebody said, yo, re-loop that. Let's play with that. Played with it. Finally got it right. And it came and it worked. And what's unique about that record is we had that record out at the same time she had hers out. You know, usually when you sample from somebody,
exactly. It's from back.
back. So we had to get permission from her. She heard the record, gave us her blessing on it,
Nice.
and we went from there.
Nice. Let's go to Wild Cowboys era. You know what I'm saying? I got to give a shout to Sauce for the Birdhead song.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably one, like, you know, you got that personal. That's one that I would rewind all the time because that beat.
Yeah.
You know,
OG.
I played the whole record, but that was the one. That era, like, what was it like, you know, after being in the group? You went from the 3-man and In God We Trust was the two of y'all.
Yep.
Everything is everything. And then, you know, Wild Cowboys comes out. What was that like, breaking into the solo world?
Well, that was, like I said, I had originally been a solo artist. So in my mind, even as we were doing the Brand Nubian stuff, I knew that at some point I would want to do something, a solo album. And at the time, I did the Wild Cowboys, which was basically a return to my Bronx roots.
Word.
Because
Word.
it was heavily Bronx influenced. I had Moneyball's Players, Minnesota, Diamond, OG, Buck Wild. They were all basically based out of the Bronx. So it was just, and I had my protege Sean Black was on a lot of those songs. So it was just basically a return to the Bronx. You know, wanted to just do something to express myself, to let people see me as a solo artist.
No doubt. And I mean, shoot, they still see you as a solo artist as well as a part of this legendary group. What would you say is part of the formula to just stay relevant?
I would say, like, first of all, I tell people you can never stop learning. That's one thing. Knowledge is infinite, so you can never stop learning. Once you stop learning, once you do that, you're putting yourself in a box. And then I would say I'm still a fan of hip hop. I'm still a fan, even with some of today's music. I'm still a fan. I still have my artists that I listen to that I'd be like, damn, I wish I would have made that record or this and that. So I still remain a fan. I still love to do it. Being that I work in school with the kids, that also keeps me relevant because now I know what's going on. I know what the trends are. Even if I don't go that way, I still know what the trends are and what's going on with today's music. But I would say what makes you relevant is just staying up with the times, knowing what's going on, and staying true to yourself. Like, I know, like, some of the songs that the young boys make, I can't make those songs. That's just not me. But that's their lane, and it's good. That's their lane, and it's good for them. I have to stay true and talk about what I know and what my core fans like. No doubt.
Speaking of, you know, the seeds, the education, working with the children, was that something you studied in college, or what inspired that?
Well, what happened was, it was a friend of mine, you know, Nairobi.
Okay.
Nairobi, yes. She's Nairobi Salah.
Yeah.
As well as being an artist, she was a principal.
Yeah.
She was a principal at the middle school, and she had been talking to me a couple of years back, like, if you ever think about coming into the school and teaching the kids about rap, let me know. And eventually one day she called me, and I came in, and it was different because I tell people, you know, like, to come into a classroom, like, all right, you can come in and see a couple of things, but to come in every day and actually have to teach something and keep these kids' attention was a learning process for me. I mean, the first year, I'm not going to up front, I was shaky. I was very shaky, but I loved what I was doing, and I loved the kids, so I molded my program. I took from others, I studied, I researched, I watched other people teach, took bits and pieces from everybody, and then took from myself and molded the program together. I'm still molding it. I'm still learning, and I'm still growing with it, but it's something that I do love. I definitely do love. Yo, check it out. This is SADAT X, 1/4 member of the Brand Nubian Brothers, representing the planet Brooklyn right now and representing Visual Caffeine.
So for any educators out there watching right now, what's some things you would say to them in terms of just managing your classroom better and bettering your teacher practice in terms of engaging the now students?
Well, what I've seen, you know, basically, and I've seen this in teachers coming, first of all, you got to connect with the kids.
Definitely.
You understand? I teach in Crown Heights. Crown Heights is a diverse area, which is heavily Caribbean influenced.
No doubt.
So you've got to know something about that area, something about the people. You got to be able to come in and tell these kids, yeah, I was jumping up on the bus on Eastern Parkway,
Exactly.
and playing some of their songs and some of their food and getting into their culture. Because once you have a connection factor with a kid, it can work. You understand? You might have a kid that comes in one day and he's having a bad day. You can see it. I see it from the tip. I know the kids. I see him when they come in. I look at him. Emily's having a bad day today. I go speak, Emily, what's the matter? I don't want to talk about it now, Mr. Murphy. Cool. I tell you what, Emily, when you feel that you're ready to speak to me, I'm here. If it's today, if it's tomorrow, I'm here. Come holler at me. So usually by the end of the class, whatever's going on, Mr. Murphy, this is what was going on. So it's basically just connect with your kids. Know your kids, know the area. You can't just come to a school, and this is what happens a lot of times. A teacher will come to a school, especially in these urban areas. They'll come to the school in the morning. They're driving from wherever they drive in, teach, get in their car at the end of the day, and drive off. You know what I'm saying? These kids see me in the hood. You know what I'm saying? My kids, I do an after-school program. At 6:30, it's over, and I'm walking down St. John's, and I tell them, listen, y'all better beat me to Utica. It should be nobody behind me. Everybody should be in front of me, and all y'all should beat me to Utica Avenue.
No doubt.
In front of me, go home. So, they know that I'm in the hood. I see them. I've driven up and seen kids before that I go to school. Hey, what you doing out here? All right, make sure you're here Monday. So it's basically having that rapport with the kids.
No doubt. So it's a long day at school. Mr. Murphy gets in his car. He had a bad day. What's he thinking about the next day?
If I had a bad day, I'm thinking about the reasons why I had a bad day, because I'm not trying to go to sleep on that karma. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big believer of karma, and a big believer of if you go to sleep with bad feelings, that's going to drain you mentally and physically. I think it takes away from you. So if I did have a bad day, I think about why did I have a bad day and what I can do not to have that type of day again. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to bring that into my house, my kingdom. You understand? Because I don't want that energy in my kingdom. I want pure energy when I go home, good energy. So I try to leave all that at the door. And it's hard because everybody has a bad day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to front. Everybody has a bad day. And it's hard to, sometimes shake it. But I try not to dwell on that. Definitely.
Of course. So one of the things I always say to either peers or even some of my heroes or people I'm building with, I feel like we're in a time now, especially within hip hop, where MCs or DJs or producers or hip hoppers just find something else on the platform they built that turns into another entrepreneurial experience. Let's talk about True Wine Connoisseurs and how that launched off.
All right. Well, True Wine Connoisseurs was a brainchild of myself and Will Tell, who did a lot of stuff for Brooklyn. A lot of producing.
Yeah, for Brooklyn Academy. Pumpkinhead. No doubt.
Definitely. So usually when we were recording, a lot of times we might have a drink, might drink some Hennessy or something. As you know, too much Hennessy sometimes to come down on you.
Yeah.
So one day, actually we were recording and it was snowing outside. And I remember nobody wanted to go back to the store. He had a bottle of wine laying around. For some odd reason, we drank the wine and I joked around with the bottle and he taped it. And it went viral. So we did a couple of more of those episodes. People start sending, different wine companies actually start sending us their wine to critique, to critique and review and, just do some funny stories too. Well, finally it was a guy named Gino and he was like, listen, if you guys ever want to learn how to make your own wine, holler at me. So we hollered at him. We went to the vineyard and he gave us our first wine.
Wow.
And in being in that, like, for me, anything I do, I'm supposed to know. So we didn't just want to slap our names on a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So we actually learned about the nuances of wine, learned about the grapes, learned about different regions of the world. Like our last batch is a Garganega, a grape which grows in certain regions of Portugal. Nice. So, I wanted to know what I was talking about. I didn't never want anybody to ask me about the wine where I was dumbfounded. We're like, I don't really know about it. I just stuck my no. So we did the research on it, and now after 7 years of fruitation, we're still growing. We're in about 60 locations, Brooklyn,
awesome.
Throughout the city, a couple locations in Jersey and down south. and we're still growing, still learning about it. But like you said, that's one thing as an artist today. Like that's why I tell these kids, you have to be proficient in a couple of things.
Exactly.
You understand? And also I tell them in school, like you need to specialize in something. You know, be proficient in an area. Like I tell them, like a lot of people coming out of school, college with general degrees, that's not making it anymore. They're having a hard time.
You're right.
So I tell them, you know, I understand you want to rap and play ball, but hey, we can use some doctors, we can use some brain scientists, we can use some computer science, you know. So I try to stress those different fields, like, you know, that way you can start to branch off into different things.
No doubt, no doubt. So a song that I frequently see you perform, you know, solo joint, Raucous Records era, 1999. Do you remember that session?
Oh, definitely.
Talk about that session.
Okay, at that session, that was a song for Common.
No doubt.
But at that session, it was Common. I think it was High Tech was there. Talib was there. Guru came by. My man was there who used to skateboard. He passed away. Harold.
Yeah, from Kids.
Yes. He came by there, and it was just that was like in the time, and you know, of we used to go to each other's sessions.
True.
And you know, even if I didn't record that day with Tribe, I might just go to their session and just cool out and chill, and like it wasn't a secret. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
I think it got to some point in time, especially with New York, where everything had to be the secret. Like nobody wanted to let the secret out, which was no secret at all. But you know, that day they were all there, and I remember we laid that down. I did 2 verses to it. I told Common to pick, and that was the one he liked, and we did the video for that. And if you notice that video that day was one of the at that time, recording in New York was one of the top 5 coldest days ever in New York. But we went out there, we did the video. It was brick, but I had a good time, and that's just one of the collabs that, you know, will stand out with me.
No doubt.
Definitely.
I can't not talk about this collab. You got to work with the legend himself, B.I.G.
B.I.G. Yes, I did.
What was that like?
Oh, that was, well, with Big, you know, I remember they called me to come down. Puff called me. I had known Puff. I knew Puff from Mount Vernon.
No doubt.
Mount Vernon and New Rochelle, our sister cities right next to each other.
True.
So I knew Puff since the teenage years. But I remember he called me, said, you know, he was managing an artist, Biggie Smalls, and Biggie, I think at the time had just released the Party and Bullshit.
Yeah.
He just released that song, and I remember we got to the studio. Lord Finesse did the original beat. Finesse did the original beat. The beat was up, so I sat and wrote. Big came. We had a couple of drinks, and then I just remember he was just walking around. You know, he wasn't writing nothing down. He was walking around humming to himself. Then he was like, "Yo, I'm ready to go in the booth." Went in and laid it down. That's you know, was a special thing to me, man, because you know, he just went just like that and laid it down. Like it was just like magical, man.
That's,
you know what I'm saying? And
that's what's up.
And to even go on about the Biggie thing, you know, I was cool with Big, and like the thing with Pac really had him upset because you know, a lot of people thought he had something to do with Pac getting shot. He didn't have nothing to do with that. He was, to keep it simple, he was just like trying to tell Pac, watch who you running with. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people you running with is not good people. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And then like it was bugged out with Pac because I saw Pac at Diamond's crib one time, and he was like, you know, my beef is not with the East Coast, it's with these certain individuals, and it just was sad to see that the route that went, man, because I knew both of them and both was cool, man. I just wish somehow I think if both of them would have been alive, allowed to live a little longer, I think they would have eventually settled that, you know. But getting back to Big, like Big was definitely special. That was a special session, you know, magical session.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Thanks for sharing that. So I build with a lot of different people, you know, in a lot of different spaces, and some people specifically in music and entertainment feel like social media is a great tool. Other people feel like I'm off that. How you feel about social media?
Well, it's like the yin and the yang, man. I think that when used right, it's a great tool. Like it's been, you know, like far as my career, doing shows and stuff like that, I've connected with people through social media. It's brought me income through social media, but I've seen it used wrong too.
Word.
You know what I mean? I've seen people, it's used wrong in a sense that, especially with the kids, like kids are impressionable.
No doubt.
So a lot of my kids, they see all this stuff on social media and they believe that stuff. Like they'll see this. Like I had a class where I had to let them know that every rapper is not rich.
Yes.
They think every rapper, because they see this stuff, is rich. I had to explain to them, like, okay, you see this guy with all this jewelry on, but a lot of time there's somebody from the jewelry company with a security man where afterwards you got to take that off and give it back. You see some of these cars, they're not there. If the car's not in your name, it's not yours. And so they see that. They think no, that's not his car. That was leased or rented for the video, and that's definitely not his house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, like it's I think it's used wrong in that aspect. I think that sometimes people try to use it as esteem boosters. You know what I'm saying? I've seen men and women go on IG and do some of the craziest stuff that I've ever seen in life, and I'm like, you wouldn't do that on no other platform but this right here. So I think a lot of people think that it boosts their esteem or whatever. Like I said, it's good and bad. I use it for what I use it for, business purposes. I try not to go overboard with it.
No doubt. So I know you're a world traveler, man. Do you have a favorite place in the world?
Man, well, let me see. I like I like Tokyo. I've been to Japan a lot of times and did extensive travels in Japan.
No doubt.
I like Denmark and some of the European countries. I've been to Africa, to Nigeria, and that was my first and only time in Africa. I do want to go to some more places in Africa.
No doubt.
Because when we went to Nigeria, the day after we got there, it was a civil war. Wow. Within the country.
Wow.
So we really didn't get a chance to perform. We had to stay inside. It was an alert high. The country was high alert.
Wow.
We had to wait about 2-3 extra days to fly home. So that wasn't a good impression of Africa that I wanted. I'm glad to see now though that Africa has opened up, and that's one thing that's good about social media about Africa too, because see, a lot of people see Africa as just like jungles and lions, and that's what when I went over there, that's what I thought I was going to see. Like, oh, we're going to this, but it's a lot of places in Africa, man, that are fabulous, man. That
built up,
that are metropolitan areas and commerce and things like that. So I want to get over there again.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And to give them more, to expound on that, I only been once too. I've been to South Africa. Long story short, I grabbed some kicks right before I went to the airport. I thought they were fresh exclusives. I get to South Africa. Dude who picks me up from the airport had those kicks on. Looked like he had them for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They were dogged. And I was like, so this is what my trip's going to be. And that's what it was like.
Yeah.
It was literally, it showed you the culture spread across the world.
Definitely.
They're in tune with every nuance that's going on over here.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So SADAT, man, what are some next moves that we can look for?
Well, right now I got a project coming out with Elder Sensei called XL.
No doubt.
Which is done. That's going to be coming out. I got a project out right now called The Summer Man, which was produced by Diamond D. Great friend of mine.
No doubt.
And a project that I just did that to show you that I'm still a fan is I just was able to finish a project with Kool Keith from Ultramagnetic.
Amazing.
Where he's like one of my all-time favorites.
No doubt.
And it's like, I was honored to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, that was like a personal milestone for myself.
That's one of the most creative of them all,
definitely. And like I tell my kids, I be like, a lot of times I say, you might not heard of Kool Keith, and you hearing about this dude in the hood, but Kool Keith is doing maybe 15 to 20 shows a month.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's about how you get in there and find your lane.
And Kool Keith got 40 albums.
Exactly, all the time. And about 10 personas. You know what I'm saying? So
literally, yeah. Nah, that's real. That's real. So, let the people know where they can find you online.
You can find me on IG, SADAT X, Instagram, on Facebook, Derek Murphy, SADAT X. And I'm around. Like, it's me on my gram page. You know, it might take me a while to get around to it, but I do answer everything, and you know, it's me.
No doubt, man. Any last words?
Just want y'all to know, you know, like, also I want to commend you because you just came in and helped out my students at the school. Like to let y'all know, like, I do a program, a hip hop program, after school program, and I got 3 sets of girls. Yeah. And like, this is a thing for me because girls, like, I'm learning middle school girls because one day a girl will come in and they're cool, but by the end of the period, Mr. Murphy, I don't talk to her no more. And I'm like, well, what just happened in these last minutes? But you came in. I had 3 sets of girls, recorded them. You know, they were brutally honest with it. You know, they do what they do. But the next day, yo, they were so happy. And it was just crazy to see how happy they were. They didn't try to, when you were there, they tried to have that tough exterior.
They did.
But the next day they were so happy, and I commend you on that. Thanks, bro.
And they were sharp.
Yeah, they were. They were
sharp.
Definitely.
Well, yo, man, thanks for being here. Visual Caffeine.
Yeah.
Team, blood clot global. Make them know this, yeah. Drop it again.
Yeah, SADAT X, Johnny Rob. Check it out. Visual Caffeine on the green screen. Yeah, SADAT X. With no hesitation, the kids in my school are Jamaican, Trini, Guyanese, and Haitian. Brooklyn to Bronx and in parallels, it's like Utica's Fordham Road. The Grand Concourse is Flatbush. I make the push. Check it out, you don't stop, yeah. Record after record and rhyme after rhyme. Kids wanna know my zodiac sign, Johnny Rob.
Johnny Rob, yo, we come back, that's the live. Pass it, it's no job.
Yeah.
Yo, it's live and direct to live in your set. You can catch his BizCav live on the internet or the IG, Gram, Slam. SADAT X, it's the great X man.
I tell my kids, all rappers are not rich. This thing right here is a bitch. You work hard, and I'm the guard on the guard day. And this, yo, check it out. I know this game from the inside. First person actual facts. I got actual plaques. I seen the disappearance now of the wax. Some fell through the cracks. The labor of love broke their backs. Some work ethics was lax. Couldn't afford the hot tracks. Some bubbled and they blew through their stacks. Took it to the streets with the jacks. Wound up a Clinton Max. Some fell cause they didn't pay tax. Wrote rhymes that was called shellac. Took an E-pill and whack. The guard here is sharp as a tack. Yeah.
Yo, this to all the rappers that made it big. Brand new said don't let it go to your head. Too many rappers swimming in riches. 5 years later they in the back washing dishes.
Yes.
They used to be ballin', label just tossed them. Now we're wondering, yo, why this happens so often? Cause cats ain't doing the knowledge, they ain't going under the study. I ain't talking college, I'm talking about learn your craft, be a craftsman. Yo, man, you be lasting.
That's
longevity.
Right.
What's the recipe, God?
Yeah, 25 years and I'm still here. Walk through this jungle without no fear. Always did the knowledge. Went to college. Learned myself. Taught myself. Respect myself and respect my women. Don't touch the kids or I beat your ass. SADAT X is here to teach the class.
Yes, and the class education. Visual Caffeine, you know this is blazing. Dropping science, it not hooked on phonics. It's 7 million scholar bionic. We ain't got the chronic right now. This is how we do with the style. Every time it's back and forth, they like, wow. Aaliyah, Funk Freaka, Mike the Speaker. So like Aretha, it's her birthday today.
That's right. Peace, y'all.
Word up. Dropping science. Peace to the gods, SADAT X.
Peace.
Visual Caffeine, you're live. Peace to Sen 16.
That's right.
Peace to Lady Elix. We in the mix, y'all. Dropping science.
Crazy. Yes, sir, Johnny.
Word up.
Again.